Hello, good evening, and you're welcome to Ghana Connect. You're live on Joy 99.7 FM. My name is Kojo Yankson. So how do you know when you're doing well? Is it when you say you're doing well? Or when others say you're doing well? Well, we are halfway into the Akufo-Addo government's 4-year term, and there's no doubt that they think they're doing well. The opposition, on the other hand, are unwavering in their criticism and condemnation of the plans, promises, and policies of the NPP government. So, stalemate, right? Well, here comes the tiebreaker, the final arbiter, the ultimate decider, a special event designed by the geniuses at Joy Thought Leadership. Now, they call it the Scoreboard. And it's a history-making 12-hour live broadcast during which analysts, technocrats, as well as the good and wise people of Ghana will systematically break down the performance so far of the NPP government under President Akufo-Addo. Now, they once boasted, "We have the men." So how well have the president's men performed so far? The scorecard will quantify their performance and lay it bare for all to see. But ahead of that rigorous midterm examination next week, Tuesday, we thought we'd run a mock exam here on Ghana Connect just to get a taste of things to come. Should be fascinating. Tonight, we connect with Carl Wilson, a lotto receiver. Bright Ampoma, a KNUST graduate in the subject of French. He came out in 2016, but also he studied abroad in Benin. Isaac Ejay is a taxi driver. Amma is a nursing mother in La Paz. We'll be connecting to her via phone. And later, Clarence Jackson, a journalist based in Liberia, will be giving us the perspective of the outsider looking in. All of this on Ghana Connect. The scoreboard, by the way, will seek to assess government in 6 areas. The economy, health, education, agriculture, infrastructure, and governance. However, tonight on our mock scorecard, we will focus on 3 of those 6 topics: health, infrastructure, and governance. Right, it's perhaps one of the most anticipated events on the Joy FM calendar, the scorecard. 2 years in to the NPP Akufo-Addo administration, we seek to assess their performance, and we seek to do it as scientifically as possible, steering well clear of the biased partisan opinions, to go straight to expert and individual opinions of Ghanaians. To help us understand how the event itself will go, we're very honored to have from Joy FM's Thought Leadership team, Nick Opoku. Nice to see you, Nick.
Nice to see you, my brother. I see you've given my event a new name.
Ignore me. I know it's the scorecard. It's overexcitement. Yeah, so the scorecard coming up next week, Tuesday. Tell us a little bit about it.
So, Kojo, I'm sure you're aware that here at Joy FM and Multimedia, we do take our constitutional mandate of keeping the government on its toes very seriously. This government has spent about 22 months in office, and we believe that it's enough time for us to do some assessment of how well they've done over the period and tell them where they are going wrong, and also give them some props where they're doing very well.
Yeah.
So what we'll be doing is to get industry experts, technocrats, and academics to tell us how well this government has done in the area of the economy, in the area of education, in the area of health, in the area of agric and rural development, infrastructure, social services, social intervention, sanitation, and then my favorite, governance, anti-corruption, and public accountability. When you go through the NPP manifesto, and Kojo, indulge me, they made a number of promises in chapter 12 of their manifesto. The first one, under governance, anti-corruption, and public accountability, was to establish by an act of parliament an office of the special prosecutor who will be independent of the executive to investigate and prosecute certain categories of cases and allegations of corruption and other criminal wrongdoing, including those involving alleged violations of the Public Procurement Act and cases implicating political office holders and politicians. And then They said they were going to implement an effective asset declaration regime by fostering a working environment for asset declaration that includes the following elements. 1, ensure effective monitoring of asset declaration by amending the law to require the Auditor General to publish periodically the list of all persons appointed under Chapter 24 of the Constitution who have declared their assets or defaulted. These and many more other promises that they've captured under governance, anti-corruption and public accountability. In the area of the economy, they said in their manifesto, this is Chapter 1 of the NPP manifesto, that 1, they will undertake financial sector reform to deepen financial markets, promote financial inclusion, and this is all to ensure the overall macroeconomic stability of the country. And then they said they were going to stabilize the currency exchange rate for the long term through prudent and disciplined macroeconomic management, an increase in domestic production, an increase in exports. Well, we are yet to know whether they've been able to do all of these, these promises that they made to the Ghanaian people, for which reason they were voted into office. Now, even beyond these promises, when you look at it this way, as a government, we've entrusted them with our taxes. We've entrusted them with our natural resources and given them the power to work. What have they been able to do over the period? They should be able to tell us after 22 months in office. So that's the whole idea behind the scorecard.
Right. But I guess the novelty here is that we're not asking government to come and score themselves.
Exactly.
We're asking industry experts and technocrats and ultimately the people of Ghana who will be there in our audience and also connecting with us from across the nation. We're asking them to score the government. That's what's new.
Yes.
Fantastic. I can't wait. I can't wait to see how they will fare. But of course, we need to know a little bit about who we'll be hearing from on the day.
So on the subject of the economy, we'll be hearing from Mr. Setekpe, the former finance minister. We'll be hearing from Dr. Priscilla Chumesi Bafo. She's a lecturer at the Econs Department of the University of Ghana. We'll also be hearing from Dr. Charles Aka. He's with ISE. On education, we'll be hearing from Professor Peter Korte, who is with the Econs Department of the University of Ghana. We'll be hearing from Isaac Titi Ofe, Principal, SOS Herman Maina International College. In health, we'll be hearing from Dr. Aaron Abiosi. He's a health management expert. We'll be hearing from Dr. David Sunu, Chief Medical Officer of BIMA Ghana. And then in the area of agric, we'll be hearing from Dr. Irene Edri. She's an agric economist and former head of the agric economics department of the University of Ghana. And then Mr. Richard Nunek Peke, CEO of Anyako Farms. On infrastructure, we'll be hearing from Mr. Nat Nuno Amatifiu, a former Accra mayor and an architect. Mr. George Owusu-Bempe, country director of Send Ghana and co-chair of the CSO's platform on SDGs, on governance, anti-corruption, and public accountability. And that's an area that I really look forward to. We'll be hearing from Justice Emil Shorts. He's a former commissioner of the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice. Mr. Kofi Abochi, a lawyer and former dean of the Gimpa Law Faculty. Mr. Senyo Hosi, CEO, Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors. And as always, we keep saying that every Ghanaian needs to be part of this conversation because this government came into office because you voted for them and you should be able to hold them accountable, Kojo.
That's right, indeed. I can't wait. And we've got a list of moderators, those who will be running us through this essentially a 12-hour live assessment of the government. It's an
all-day affair.
Fantastic.
And Kojo, your good self will be part of our moderators for governance, anti-corruption and public accountability. Raymond Naka will be there. My good friend Samson Ladiayeneni, the host of Newsfile, will also be there. Daniel Dadzi, the host of the Super Morning Show, and the rest of the other guys.
Indeed. I can't wait. But it's going to be powerful. 12 hours of very hot and intensely stimulating sessions all day long on Tuesday from 8 a.m., right?
Yes, from 8 a.m. And we'll close at 8 p.m.-ish.
Wow. We'll see how it all goes. I'm geared up and ready for it. Thank you so much for that, Nico.
Yes, so Kojo, the venue again is the Labadi Beach Hotel at
right.
Labadi. The date, remember, Tuesday, 27th of November. We start at 8 a.m. And you don't need to stay through the entire conversation. You can come be part of one session and then other people also come for other sessions. But if you want to stay too, that's also fine.
That's also okay. How can people get tickets or invitations?
So there are tickets at the front desk of JoyFM. You can come by, pick up your ticket, and then we'll register you so they can be part of this conversation.
Right. So that's how it's going to unfold on Tuesday. Thank you. Thanks once again,
Thank
Nick.
you, Kojo.
And good job to you and your team. But before the big event on Tuesday, we thought we'd do our own little mock exam here and speak to a few Ghanaians and see how they would score the government after 2 years in office. Connecting with us in the studio, we're very happy they could make it. Isaac J is a taxi driver. Bright Ampoma is a graduated not so long ago from KNUST, about 2 years ago. And Carl Wilson is a lotto receiver. We'll be connecting later over the phone with Ama, who is a nursing mother right here in La Paz, not too far away. And Clarence Jackson is a journalist based all the way in Liberia. He will be giving us the view of the outsider looking in. But first, I want to ask, for those of you connecting with us here in the studio, how many of you voted for the NPP government? Yeah, we have two of you voted for the NPP government. But Carl did not. You did not vote for the NPP government. All right. Now, I'm going to start with the two of you who voted because you chose them. You asked them to come and govern on your behalf. So I'm keen to find out from you how you think they have done generally over these first 2 years. Let me start with you, Bright.
Well, thank you, Kojo. Well, it's been 2 years on since the NPP
almost 2
government.
years.
Yeah,
One more
almost.
month and it'll be
Okay.
2 years. Yeah.
It's almost 2 years, and yeah, generally, I think the government is doing well, generally, and there is a lot of praises from the outside world, that is from Ghana, beyond Africa. When you travel, you really hear a lot of good things about Ghana, but when you are in it, you see a whole new, different thing, I would say.
Tell me, what are you seeing because you are in it?
Yeah, recently, let me start by giving a generalization on this. Early 2018, I heard a lot of praises about Ghana and how the economy was growing. So I went online to find out, and then I realized that it's actually out there that Ghana is the fastest growing economy.
Yes.
And I think it is still the same case today. But well, when you come to the ground, people's salary are still at the same level. New taxes every day. How are we supposed to manage within this? Fuel prices going up, transport fares. You are receiving the same amount as about 2 years ago, but prices of things are almost doubled. How do you manage with this? So currently on the ground, people are working hand to mouth. That is the general thing. But I believe that there is some kind of economic mechanism that is being put into place that makes the outside world see Ghana growing. And I'm just hoping that these structures manifest in the Ghanaian life within the shortest possible time.
So like many people have said, you are saying that you don't see the connection between that macro economic situation that the world is praising us for and the microeconomic situation that you and I are facing daily.
Exactly.
Right. That's interesting. Now, Isaac, you voted for the NPP as well.
Yeah.
Did you get what you voted for?
No. I thought there would be a change, but things are getting worse. Every day things are getting worse. We voted for change, and then we know as Nanadu came, things will change, but things are not changing. We can't see anything. They will come on radio, they come on TV, they will come and tell you GDP. No, I can't see any GDP. If there is money in my pocket, I'm happy. If there's no money in my pocket, how can I see GDP? So you can't come and sit on radio and come and tell me the GDP, the micro what? No. We need money. Can we go on?
Sure.
Okay. First, I used to buy petrol 14 cedi, 50 pesos per gallon. Now I'm buying petrol 23 cedi, 50 pesos. Some places 25 cedi, some places 24 cedis. And now take calculator and calculate and see something. And then if I'm buying petrol 50 Ghana Mahama regime, and now I'm buying petrol 90 Ghana a day. If I'm buying petrol 90 Ghana a day, and then you calculate it a month, is 1,200. 1,200 times 3 is 3,006. is 3,000 cess, and the 3,000 cess, if my daughter is going to free HSS, and then I'm paying 3,000 cess for the government, by the close of the month, I'm spending almost 1,200. Let's say 1,200 for the whole month, 1,200 for the whole month, and then one term is 3 months. That's 3 months is one term. Okay, now if I'm paying those money for the government, SS school fees is how much? The school fees is, some boarding house is 400 Ghana. A term is 400 Ghana. If the government is taking 3,000 cedis from me, remaining how much? 3,200. What is that money?
So what you are trying to say is that you are comparing how much money you are spending on fuel to how much money you are saving on free SHS, right?
Yes.
And you are saying that you are spending more on fuel than you are saving on free SHS per term, right?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
You are aware that there is an automatic pricing formula. So government is not the one that is setting the price for your fuel, even though they are taxing your fuel.
I will never buy that idea from the government. When he was coming, he told us he was going to reduce it drastically. Petrol prices are going to go down. We were the drivers for change. We change. We said Mahama was no good, so we need another to come and take it to the desert. And now he's taking us to hell. From desert to hell. We can't see anything. So now what I'm saying is that the petrol prices are too much. They should bring it down. If they can't do anything, we should go back to the old system. They say Mahama is no good. Mahama gave the system to private people. Now he is coming. He should take it from them. So you manage it and we will buy it from the government. We can't see anything.
Right.
Nothing is being changed.
In a while, we'll also connect with PSC and Anaya Osafo. He's a student journalist, and he can give us a bit of an assessment from his personal perspective, also putting his journalistic lenses on, I guess, to help us out. But before we get to PSC, I've been keen to hear what Carl Wilson has to say. Now, Carl, you didn't vote for them, but surely you can see some good things they have done or not?
Oh, I don't see anything going on in Ghana because a survey indicated that 2017 Ghana economy is going to boost. No matter who will come in, who will vote for. But it seems like nothing is going on.
The boosting didn't happen.
It didn't happen. Previously, you just sleep and wake up. You find asphalt in front of your main gate. You go outside, see buildings.
Where do you live? Yeah, I didn't get that experience.
Oh, yeah, because
wake up and find asphalt.
I live at Latabi Okoshi.
Okay.
And I can give you so many rules over there so that you can go and check it by yourself.
Okay.
Choco, Latabi Okoshi, Mamprobi, Kolebu Road. Even the corners, not the main roads.
The side roads.
Yeah, the side roads. You find asphalt over there.
Okay.
But these days, nothing is going on. They were building schools, hospitals. They were building e-blocks so that we poor people, we can get quality education for our kids. But these days, all of those things is not going on. And then the money they are borrowing. You can see them borrowing. So I just asked myself, where are those money going for? What are they using that money for? Because I quite remember one of Baumia lectures, His Excellency from Vice President. He said Mahama has borrowed 37 billion Ghana cedis, and he can't find anything. I can give him evidence. Go to Salvation School, you will see beautiful school classroom blocks. But right now, His Excellency Nanado Dankwa, he has borrowed more than what Mahama borrowed. But you can't find anything.
Well, he hasn't yet borrowed more than what Mahama borrowed.
And he's yet to borrow more.
They've been borrowing.
Yeah, he's yet to borrow more.
Every government borrows.
Yeah, but you can't see anything.
See. Okay.
What are you seeing in Ghana? You just point one thing to me apart from free SHS.
Has anybody heard what government says in response to that? Has anybody here heard government responding to the claim that you've been borrowing and we can't see what you've used it for? Anybody?
But can you see anything? Let me ask you first.
Well, that's why you are here to answer our questions.
Wow.
Can anybody recall any response that government has given to this claim that we are borrowing and we can't see? No, nothing.
What I heard is that
Oh, you heard
they
something.
were using that money to pay our debt.
Who is our?
Our Ghanaians' debt. If I say I'm a Ghanaian,
Okay.
and they are our leaders. So that's what they told us. But what I don't understand is that, like something like the collapsing bank and those things, government own them.
Government
Own some of the banks.
Which ones?
The contractors.
Oh, you mean government owns
Own the
them,
banks,
owns the money?
yeah.
Okay.
And when they pay the banks, they can use that money to sustain their banks. But they refuse to pay them. And right now, they collapse their banks. So you say you are going to borrow to come and pay our debt. Why didn't you use the same method to sustain those banks so that the workers there can get their daily distance? Right now, they are all home.
To be fair, the amount of money that government owes contractors is a very small portion of the amount of money that these banks had either misapplied or spent on the wrong thing and all of that. What government owes contractors is a small part of that 8.8 billion bill that we heard about. Okay, all right, but very interesting to hear from your perspective. How you think government is performing. Now, PSA, you're a student of journalism, right?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, but you're a Ghanaian, first of all.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, and well, everybody seems to be a bit feeling the pinch, at least those in the room. Are you the exception?
Well, first of all, yes, I did cast my vote, but being on the side of student journalism, learning, and trying as much as possible to be objective as it is in discerning the facts, it's been quite an interesting ride. And one issue most of us had, particularly on our side, on University of Ghana, was how the youth seemed too partisan and makes discussions of the central issues very hard to deal with. In the recent months also, with KNUST happenings across Adenta, it seems there's been a certain upsurge, if you may, in us calling for what is rightfully ours. Aside that, it becomes the usual mantra of the NDC must attack, the MPP must defend, and it makes things quite hard to assume. But personally, would we say we are having some development? I would say yes, there are right policies in place. When it comes to implementation and explaining to the core that we are getting the benefits, that's where we have certain problems.
But must someone explain a benefit to you? Should you not feel it?
Well, we've had, as said by some of our panelists earlier, the same politicians, more often than not, sometimes in using the literature and the euphoria of politics, they psych us up too much of what we are to expect from certain policies. So even where we are getting the right amount of benefits or the right amount of implementation systems, we still question those because we're put on a certain pedestal of expectation, expecting that at least my government is supposed to be in power. I'm not supposed to pay this. I'm not supposed to pay that. We saw how that brought a whole new issue with the Delta Force guys and stuff, because they felt entitled to certain things and the government. They were miscommunicated to in that regard. So I think once those things are put in place, once we are all sensitized as we should, it helps make the discussions better, and we can now hold government accountable that we're supposed to get this, we are not getting that. Then the oasis and the paradise we are promised, which more than often than not, even from journalistic views and from side of many of our professors on campus, are not realistic and cannot happen at all in the first place.
Now, we will ask each of you to score the government over 100 at the end of the show, but I want us to drill down to three particular areas. On Tuesday, they will score government on the scorecard show. They will score government in 6 broad areas: economy, health, education, agriculture, infrastructure, and governance. Today, we want to focus on 3 areas: health, infrastructure, and governance. Governance is a big thing, It is not just about corruption. but it's also about stopping wastage, in the system, being economical in your appointments and so forth, being not using nepotism or, friends and family, that sort of thing. All of that falls under governance. So it's not just about corruption per se. But I want us to start with health. Health has been a big issue over the past 2 years. The no bed syndrome, was a talking point. But in terms of actual infrastructure in the health sector, I wonder how you feel about how government has performed in the creation of more healthcare facilities since they came into power.
Brother, let me come in. We're in this country when Mahama was having that's 87 ministers, or am I lying? 87. Okay. Every month, each minister give out some small money for them to use to put up cheap compounds. Nanado is having 110 minutes. Now is 111. They have not been able to even put up even one hospital out of their salary. By Mahama's time, they were giving out those small money for cheap compound. But now we can't see those things.
That was
again.
voluntary. It's not their responsibility. They just volunteered.
You said what Mahama was doing is not good, so you are coming to do it right. That's why we voted for you. Go to Amasama and go and see. There's hospital there. There's no bed in Amasama. That's where I live. There's no bed. My daughter was sick 2 months ago. I hold my daughter like this for 12 hours with oxygen. Go there and go and ask. There's no bed. The burden is there, but there are no bed inside the burden.
How old is that hospital?
It's old.
It's old.
For that
Okay.
one, I can't tell. It's old. Formerly, it was a clinic, and now they made the hospital.
Were there beds there before?
They were bed. They do expansion. They extend the hospital to other places. So now the old place are having the bed, but the new block is not having bed. No bed, nothing. Even if you go there, you can go there and go and verify this night. People are there. Emergency, there's no bed that they will put the people who are sick on it. Up to now, go to Amasama and go and see our roads. The road to the hospital say is no good. Even the hospital, the lighting system there is poor. Go there and go and see.
Right.
So I can't see anything.
I want to hear more about health. Health.
I think the base of national health insurance, government is doing well. They are performing about that sector.
They've cleared the arrears.
Oh yeah. They were doing well. But beds and ambulance, light, and then water and those things. Because I went to Kolebu last month, and then I realized that I have to find a place to unit, and then so I went to the washroom, and there's no water.
Wow. In Kolebu?
In Kolebu,
Oh.
there's no water. So I just asked myself, what are those patients are going through and those things? So the infrastructure base, I don't see anything much about them. But based on national health, well, they are doing well.
Okay.
That one, they outscored them.
Okay, well, I don't really have much practical experience with the hospitals because I don't really remember the last time I went to the hospital.
Oh, healthy man, strong man.
Yeah, but the actual fact is that recently I was in Burkina Faso. We organized the Africa Dialogues where children come together to talk about the Africa that they want to see in the future.
Yeah.
And there was one girl from Cameroon. All that she said was that all that Africa has been probing for is doable within just 5 years. The reason why we are not able to do that is that we lack the passion for good works for our people. It seems like when we are inside, we don't know what is happening on the outside. These hospital issues, frankly, I said I've not been going to the hospital, but I've not heard about this government starting hospital structure or anything within these 2 years. Well, it's understandable because there are a lot of projects that the government has already undertaken. And then I think the problem is there was a lot of promises. The people are expecting a lot, but he doesn't have that much time already and the resources as well. So I think for infrastructure, well, we can pardon them on it a little bit, but there are pressing issues like the birds and the rest. Recently, we had a lot of chaos about this bird syndrome, and it is very serious. I watched a documentary that a minister here from Ghana went to visit Rwanda just to study their economy and the rest of things, how well they are doing and what we can also learn from them. And according to the minister, he said that almost every village had a hospital and there were ambulances for them. And healthcare was so much taken care of. Drones carrying medicines to the remote areas and all that. And it was really much encouraging. But
Dr. Baumia says they're going to start that.
Look at Rwanda. Look at their revenue base. The amount of money they are able to collect yearly is not even up to half of what we are able to collect in Ghana. But where does the money go? I think the real problem is management. There was a statistic by the World Bank in March 2008, and it said that Ghana looks very promising in boosting the economy in all directions. The only thing they had to do was that they have to widen the revenue base and then check management, how money goes out and those kind of things to stop the leakage of funds anyhow. If these two things are really well taken care of, I think Ghana will be better off.
Yeah. I think I can confirm what you're saying about their tax revenue. Their target, this is not even how much they collected, but their target for the entire year was $1.5 billion tax revenue.
Interesting.
That's the target that they had. I'm not sure how much they actually collected, but that's what they were aiming for. Okay, right. All right, so you are not seeing much by way of infrastructure, but you can pardon them, you say. Right.
Well, as far as health is concerned, we get, I don't know whether perhaps it's because, but you get the same rhetoric from all governments. It's always in the works. It's always we build this hospital. It's been unveiled. There's a grand selection, and that's it. 60 years and beyond. The Ghana Beyond Aid we are trying to build. My side from the University of Ghana, and particularly it hits home because I remember the UGMC not too long ago. We had to, in collaboration with, of course, Joy News, taking up the initiative, and some students on campus had to actively pursue for us to even get certain assurances as to how it's gotten. I can't confirm the details as of now. Recently, there's been in the news, mortuary health workers have been complaining. They are going on strike. I happened to cover one story at the beginning of government's time, about in the first 5 months or so, when nurses had to sleep at the Ministry of Health for close to a week or so because minister has simply not communicated right to them. According to them, they had been, as I mentioned earlier, given certain promises that immediate restoration of certain benefits. They weren't getting that. The minister's words were, if I'm to paraphrase per what they said, that they could cut off his head and they won't still get that assurance. It would ginger them to, they had to sleep there with their coal pots and stuff like that. They had to be going there for 2 or 3 days just to cover the story, and it's very interesting. You ask, yes, it's being done. I'm sure with the next government, by all means, hospitals will be built. But how best are we working towards our future with our growing population, rapid response, our ambulance system, all of these stuff?
Let's talk about ambulances for a moment, just quickly. I mean, the entire nation has, as at a month ago, 50 functioning ambulances, the whole Ghana. Yet we have 111 ministers who all have V8s. Well, I can estimate they all have V8s. What does it say about us? And I don't know whether it's limited to just this government, but what does it say about us as a nation if we are not able to prioritize something as important as ambulances?
I want president to warn his ministers to attend medical attention in Ghana. If it will be possible, let Parliament pass that law. No one will fly from Ghana to outside for medical attendant.
Why do you think that would be good?
When those things happen like that, they will think they will also go through that hardship with us. So they will use to repair those things and manage things. because they think when they got sick and their family, they will fly them to abroad. So they don't think about we the poor people. Because me, I don't have money to fly outside.
Right.
When I'm sick, maybe I won't get money to even hospital unless I go to pharmacy and buy medicine.
Okay.
So
Now, earlier, Bright made a point about how internationally we seem to look quite good to the world. Ghana is doing well. But inside, we seem to be spotting a lot of things that we think are not going well. I want us to get that international perspective. We're connecting now with Clarence Jackson. He's a journalist based in Liberia. Clarence, thank you for your time and good evening. Thank you and welcome to Ghana Connect. Hello, Clarence. Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm on the line. Hello, good evening. How you doing?
We're doing very well. We're glad you can join us on Ghana Connect. Now, Clarence, have you ever been to Ghana?
Yes, I've been to Ghana. I've been to Ghana once in 2010. I visited Ghana. I had gone there with about 6 members of the Liberian Parliament to have an interaction with some members of the Ghanaian Parliament. I remember I was residing in a place called Osu at a hotel, and I can still remember I have a lot of interaction with a Ghanaian parliamentarian at that time called Garrison Badiami. I don't know whether he's still in the Ghanaian Parliament, but I remember that name very well. And so, yes, I have been to Ghana in 2010.
Wonderful. Now, over the past 2 years under a new government, a lot has happened. How do the people of Liberia view Ghana in terms of its development? How well do they think we are doing?
Well, if you walk in the streets of Liberia and talk to different Liberians about the governance process in Ghana and how the government of President Nana Akufo-Addo, has been proceeding, you will have multi-dimensional responses amongst Liberians. But I think on the average, a very good portion of our population believe that President Nana Akufo-Addo is doing very well, and that you Ghanaians did not make any mistake to elect the president for obvious reasons. Some people believe President Nana Akufo-Addo has been in the political struggle of your country. He's been the Minister of Justice. He served other positions in Ghana, and so he understands the rudiments of the Ghanaian politics and how it works. Other Liberians believe that he's an experienced person, and every nation in the world will want to have an experienced person. On the other hand, other people believe there is nothing that's going to change as compared to the time President John Mahama was president of Ghana. But a very good number of Liberians believe President Nana Akufo-Addo is the good president. He's doing very well. Sometimes they're not particular about some of the particular things the team President Akufo-Addo has been able to do. But they believe that whenever your president travels, he brings back to your country a lot of social and economic dividends. And they thought those were some of the attributes of any good leader, and that President Akufo-Addo is doing very, very well in Ghana. Other people will talk about his cabinet. The caliber of people that have been appointed in his cabinet to serve the Ghanaian people. So there will always be multidimensional discussions among people about, the president and the governance process of the country. But like I said, very good portion of Liberia believe that you Ghanaians made the right choice by electing President Nana Akufo-Addo.
Are they able to point to any particular things that they consider to be achievements of this new government?
Well, I was just talking to a Liberian politician this afternoon, and he tries to point to this 7 years coordinated program of economic and social development policies, that President Nana Akufo-Addo launched. He was talking about, education for Ghanaians, the president and the government's plan to, provide affordable and quality education for the Ghanaian people. But most of them would say, like I said, the specificity of what they will point at in terms of good governance for Ghana, most of them are saying, look, Nana Akufo-Addo is a household name in Ghana. He's a brand in the Ghanaian politics. He understands the rudiments of Ghana's politics. He's been serving governments in Ghana before. And so, when people go to the elections and elect people of such, it means that he knows exactly what to do and what not to do because he's been in politics in your country before. That's the greatest thing a lot of Liberians will point to. I mean, to be specific with some of the issues, many of them will not be very specific because, you see, many people do not follow politics in other people's country with the exception of few politicians here who followed your politics. Now, your day-to-day politics and President Kufuor took over, people don't follow it. But on the average, people will always say to you, Ghana is better than Liberia. Ghana is better than Liberia in terms of health. Ghana is better than Liberia in terms of as you may know, most of our government officials who get sick here are transferred to Ghana, for medical attention. Most of all the ordinary people who are privileged, who have that economic power, when people are sick here to go to Ghana for treatment. And so
that's very interesting.
Why a lot of Liberians think that Ghana is making progress. I mean, in terms of road connectivity, you're making serious progress. In terms of, social welfare and improving your educational system, many Liberians think President Kufuor is doing very well. But sometimes when you ask them to be very specific on certain things, I don't know why most of them, but I think because they don't read a lot about Ghana and don't follow your politics. But on the average, they believe to be a president of that kind of country, you must have served in Ghana before.
Right.
And if they were judging by that, they think President Kufuor is the best guy.
Right. Well, that's a glowing tribute there. It's very interesting to hear that your politicians and the elites are sent to Ghana for treatment. Do they come to private hospitals in Ghana or public hospitals?
Well, it's hard to determine that, but I think most of our government officials who get sick here would prefer going to the private hospital in Ghana. As a matter of fact, that's one of the reasons why even the 12-year regime of former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, a lot of Liberians have been calling on the government to make sure, for example, if Ghana is where all of your officials can go to seek medical treatment, why not go to Ghana, sit with the people in the health system, understand from there how it is working, and then you borrow those kind of ideas, bring it back here to our public hospital here and try to improve the system. But nothing has been able to work, over the last 12 years, and as I'm speaking to you. So most of our government officials here, most of our members of parliament here would rush to Ghana. They prefer going to Ghana to seek medication.
That's interesting, Clarence. So tell me, are there any criticisms that people have of the Kufuor government?
Many of them have got a very good experience from Ghana. And so the name Nana Akufo-Addo, if you ask, for example, some of the Liberians who sought refuge in Ghana, they would tell you, yes, he's been in the foreign policy of Ghana before. He's been in Ghana's justice sector before. He's a very good president since he took over. Every time he traveled, abroad, the Ghanaians will always smile because the government will have a lot to offer. Again, I'm not in Ghana, so I don't know how you ordinary Ghanaians are thinking because there's an adage
now,
that says...
Clarence, can you hear me?
You think the West is happening in your... Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I'm wondering, are there any criticisms? Do people have any criticisms of the Akufo-Addo government?
Well, criticism of the Nana Akufo-Addo government, well, no. I don't know. I haven't heard any public criticism of the government under President Nana Akufo-Addo.
Right. Well, I've got to tell you, you've really given us a lot of information there about how the people of Liberia
is doing so much. If you've been to Liberia,
hello,
if you do
Clarence.
a survey of most of our systems here.
Clarence, I hope you can help. Yeah, we're so sorry. It looks like we're going to have to say a big thank you for your contribution so far, but it's been very, very packed. Thank you so much for sharing all of that knowledge about how the people of Liberia view the people of Ghana and our progress under our most recently elected government, the NPP government under President Akufo-Addo. Wow, fascinating stuff. I wonder, listening to that, how many of you felt kind of proud, that your country seems to have such a high regard elsewhere? How many of you felt
Babana,
a bit of pride?
You can never compare Ghana to Liberia.
No, I'm not saying compare the two
Yeah.
countries. I'm
He is
saying
saying
they have a lot of respect for Ghana.
Yeah.
Hearing him talk about it,
Yeah.
did it make you feel a sense of pride?
Oh yeah. I'm very, very happy about that.
Okay. Just one
But
of you.
I don't feel
Well,
that.
me, I'm
in
not
Ghana.
happy. The thing is,
I'm not happy.
I'm happy about that, but I don't feel it.
Yeah, when you measure the facts, this is not the first time we've had Ghana's international image on such a good platform. It's, I think, maybe growing up perhaps it was a big deal for me, but now getting more mature, it becomes past tense. You want to actually feel that, and for some Ghanaians, I'm sure it even becomes a matter of anger. Like, really, I sure come to Ghana, come see. I'm sure someone. Yeah,
Is that how you feel?
Well, yes, we are doing well, but we can do so much better. Earlier on, we were speaking about health, and it's angering and it's annoying and it's just, I don't know the words to use. When you know that, as you mentioned, we have over 50, and I doubt whether even all those 50 are functioning properly.
Those are the ones that apparently are functioning.
Apparently, that's a good term.
Yes.
And then you have one person in the name of a party buying over 275 buses or so to accommodate. You ask, what our sense of prioritization?
And that's his own money. Did you expect him to buy ambulances with it?
Well, it's what the person is in the governing parties. Is in the
still
governing
his own
parties.
money.
Of course, it's still his own money. I understand, but it's calls to question, particularly from the side of our youth. Of course, it is also our choice whether we choose to be have a strong allegiance to the state or not. We can also decide to go for our own brain drain and what have you. But that system of us sacrificing our ideals, our young life, so to speak, for the better agenda, the long-term Ghana that we all want, that thing is dying out because the leaders do not seem to prioritize as much.
Who agrees with him?
We are getting lots of speeches, we are getting lots of diplomacy, we are getting lots of, yes, it shall be well in Ghana, we need this vision in place, but the steps being taken actively to achieve that seems to be taken for granted.
Yeah, I agree with him because you are in this kind of people. They will say Ghana is beyond aid, Ghana is beyond, but we are still borrowing.
Well, aid is different from.
Let me land because if you are in what do you call what do you call that guy from Liberia, and then you be in Liberia and then you tell them Ghana we are safe, Ghana everything is cool. I'm here, I can't see anything with my eyes. All I'm seeing is trouble. Now there is doom so everywhere. So if you are there and you are telling me Ghana here, there is peace. No, there is peace here, but there is no happiness. There is peace, there is no happiness. Because if I'm going to work, I can't get money to home. I'm always, if I'm going home, I go home empty stomach, empty pocket to home. So if you are there and you are telling me Ghana is, no, I can't see anything.
This is fascinating. I mean, it's peace but no happiness. That's a big statement.
Yeah.
Profound.
Well, quickly on what our brother from Liberia was talking about and your question about that. You see, I really understand where he's coming from. When you go outside of Ghana, especially to other African countries, you see and hear a lot of these things. And the thing is, Ghanaians individually are doing well. Every day I say that Ghana is growing like America. The individuals are doing much to sustain themselves, and it makes it look good generally for the country, so that when people see it from outside, they will attribute it to the government. But I did a check on something in Ghana. I was looking through the malls and its ownership in Ghana, and I realized that at the end of the day, the only thing Ghana owns actually is the name. Everything else that looks better in Ghana belongs to foreigners or partnership with some individuals. Right now, when you check on the richest people in Africa, you barely see Ghanaians making it to the top 10. Does that mean that the Ghanaians are not rich enough, or maybe they are just not ready to put up their riches online or something like that? But the thing is, just like a circulating message on social media right now, Vladimir Putin making a comment about the fact that Africa...
By the way, we haven't been able to prove that Vladimir Putin made that statement.
Yes.
I don't know why it's circulating so fast, but no, there's no evidence that Vladimir Putin said that. But I know the statement you are referring to.
Yes. Yeah. So when you look at whether it is true or it's not, the fact of the matter is truth. You see, Africa is just like a cemetery for the black people. They make money, they go to buy houses in... outside of Ghana, they go to Europe, America, and then do all sorts of things.
But that means they are making money.
They are making money. They are
why
not.
are we complaining?
They are not investing the money in the country.
But they are making money.
They are making the
So
money.
people are doing well.
How are they making the money?
Mm.
Look at the Ghanaians that are living in Ghana, working in Ghana, and then having the properties in outside Ghana. Who are they? They are actually somewhere within the public sector working. Where do they get the money from? And why do they take those monies to buy stuff outside?
I think they used to do those things because of the way we do our things here. Because right now, if Ghanaian is establishing something here, we only check his or her political background, so that we will know how we will deal with that person. If this person belongs to this party and the party B is on power, so we have to deal with the person.
Right.
Yeah, we have Dangote Cement here. I've heard that Ibrahim Mahama is establishing the same cement factory here in Ghana.
Right.
But right now they are fighting with him. Meanwhile, Ghanaians will work at that factory.
That is food for thought. And unfortunately, that's where we're going to have
So
to wrap
why
up.
don't
So I'm
we-
going to quickly read a couple of messages here. Actually, I have one message here. This one is from Sharif in Cape Coast. He says, Kojo, good evening. In fact, as I'm talking to you now, we're having a power outage. It's been frequent nowadays because it happened yesterday as well. I don't want to believe the days of Doomso are back. I think Nanado is gradually losing focus. Oh dear. Okay. Well, it would appear that everybody right now quickly going to run quickly across the room. Each of you are going to give me your score for the government. You can't waste time. PSC
Starting
over
from
100. Yes.
Wow. I'll give it 69%.
69.
43 over 9.
43 over what? 43 over 100. You mean? Isaac, 43%. Okay. 40% from Carl and from Bright.
Well, I'll give about 72%.
Okay, well, we have one lenient scorer here. Thank you all so much for participating. Now, if you want a ticket, if you want to participate in the big event, the scorecard, which happens on Tuesday next week, then this is the number you need to call. Write it down. And it is 054 630 3435. 054 630 3435. We'll see you there at the Labadi Beach Hotel on Tuesday, the 27th of November. My name is Kojo Yankson. Thank you for connecting with us. Good night.